We're currently scaling Puresport from 10 million this year to 50 million across the next few years. That's a huge amount of growth, and it's actually one of the toughest stages for any business.
Yo, that man stay posting quotes, but in real life ain't doing a thing. Them gal look good on IG, in real life don't.
Lots of founders and CEOs make content about building brands, but you really get to see what actually goes on behind the scenes. So today I'm going to bring you inside a real day as the CEO. Today we're in the office for our senior leadership team meeting, where we're going to be reviewing the Q1 KPIs that we set at the start of the year and talking through the priorities that we need to set to keep the company growing. I'm going to walk you through the goals that we set, whether we hit them, and how we're thinking about that those need to change for the next quarter. We're going to go deep into how we think about scaling the brand at this stage, so you can apply some of this thinking to growing your own business.
Lie to yourself or lose yourself. Me, I don't know what's worse. More time I'm deep in life, but how can I when I stare the I'm looking at kettles and whips, and you man sat there talking. Yo, you ain't got no emotion. We the ones running it up. This track ain't for me.
So we're just about to start our SLT Q2 planning meeting. Back in December, we set 4 key priorities for the business, and those priorities were to unlock our D2C acquisition offer, so how we acquire customers online and into subscription. To test how fast we can scale Amazon this year. Amazon is the biggest channel in our category, so we really want to test how quickly we can grow on that channel and where the ceiling is on that growth. We want to show that we know how to get off shelf of retail this year. We're going to be going into retail for the first time, but our key metric is not how many doors that we can get into, it's how quickly we can get off the shelves. And the 4th priority for the business is to launch protein on D2C and Amazon and have a successful launch around that. So we're going to be reviewing those, talking about how we went, talking about the stuff that we didn't do so well, and then realigning what those priorities look like for the second quarter. And we'll really jump into like how we think about breaking down those goals. The business has better momentum at this moment in time than it's ever had before. And I think so much that comes down to the clarity in the plan, because the clearer the plan is and the clearer that we can communicate it to the team, the better that is for getting everybody excited about that momentum. And everything that everybody is then doing every day is layering up to one of those goals. And what we say is, if you're doing something that's not layering up to one of those goals, we need to actually just move it down the road. And I think this is one of the things that we've really struggled with as a small business, and especially my first time leading a business this far, is you're just surrounded by distractions all the time, and you think that they're really great opportunities, and you get excited about them and you pursue them, but actually they are just noise. So I think what we're really learning about, the power of focus here in a small business is the fewer things that we're doing, and the more we've got everybody focused on doing those few things, the faster the business can actually grow.
So let's look a little bit about what's working, what could be better in Q1, and then let's start to look at Q2 priorities like we did in Q1 in terms of like what are those key bits by channel and by area that we want to track. So that's the start point. Let's see how long that takes us. It might be fairly quick if we're rolling quite a lot of stuff, or if we need to get into the discussion, we can. And then we've got all the other bits coming. So just to get everyone in the room and tell them what those are. Innovation update, Dan will lead us through that with Nick's help around the current innovation plans, but also some of the shift in thinking where we've got some quite exciting conversations around stuff like ready to drink, but that's also a little bit probably new news to people in terms of why we're doing that, what that could look like. And then we'll get into the protein naming and also probably a wider discussion there on is the product naming we want to look at.
Is there anything else about May and June which would be like seasonal in any way that we would have to take into account and look at those numbers?
May is our first launch of the boots with retail, so obviously the forward order and that will come back there, but like there's be some general marketing activity around the business for us there.
Yeah.
The marathon is a big thing, but also in addition we're launching a new flavour. So again there, what we know is any marketing activity that's around a new product, it does drive volume to that product, but actually it ends up driving a whole lot of volume to the other SKUs around it, reminds people that we're there, etc. And then in June, the big play there is launching protein. So although that actually comes right at the end of the month, we're going to capture most of that revenue in July. There will be a lot of like excitement in the business in and around that time. So those are like the key kind of bits.
My mindset going into these meetings is to make sure that I'm not the dominant voice in the room. I think it's really important that the people that are bringing the plan to life and the people who are going to be executing on every day, plus managing their own teams, are the people who ultimately we work together on coming to those solutions, those problems, all those things that we want to, really attack. So for me, I've kind of set the vision of what we want to do throughout the year and the next 3 years. And actually what I sort of say to these guys is how we bring that to life is actually in a lot of the ways their choice. So when I'm thinking about these, obviously I play a key role in how the conversation is happening and what I think, but I try not to speak first. I try to let other people, talk and us work those things out.
We've got decent resources come in with Mikey, Hav, Rory, potentially SK, Shan helping us out more. So I think we've done a lot of talking about brand. Feel quite comfortable about where that's heading. Dan, I don't know where your head's at on that.
I think it's been good to lay the foundation, but I think in Q2 we really need to then start elevating some of the things that we're talking about. I think that the things on there that are going to be big for the next quarter are going to be eyeballs on the brand through our own content and our team of ambassadors and athletes, community eyeballs and like events and that we support and events that we host ourselves. And then how much content are these guys feeding through to the growth team? I think like those are the 3 pillars that are really going to move us forward in the next bit. I actually really believe in this quote here about cultural relevant businesses don't target a demographic, they develop cultural resonance and tap into the deep sense of self through individuation. So I actually think even if Match and Eve is a thing to like send to the team around and get really easy, just making really sure that actually the conversations at the upper brand level aren't necessarily about that, it's about the cultural resonance pieces.
And then just going back to why the right channels are important is in the sports supplement category, 35% of the category is shopped on Amazon, 30% is shopped in retail, 15% is shopped on branded websites, and then the further 10% is like health supplement stores, etc. So actually, how our business is set up at this moment in time is we're 80% D2C, 75%, 80% D2C. So actually we're set up disproportionately to how the category is shopped. So when we're trying to like expand into being an omni-channel business, the reason is that if we can be £1 million a year D2C business, that actually means we could be doing 2.5 million revenue on Amazon based on how many people are shopping there and how the category is shopped. So that's the reason why it's really important to be in the right channels, because at the moment we're not actually set up to scale in the way that the category is set up. And the reason why those goals are then really important as an annual basis is anything you're doing that isn't feeding up to those goals, you just need to cut out. We've not been good at that in the past, but we've been really good at it now. And then what that allows us to do is break those big goals down into bite-sized goals like we're doing here for the quarter. So each one of the goals in the quarter, it's either contributing to one of those things, D2C, Amazon, retail, or new product development. And that's how we then think about those quarterly goals. And that's what's then really important within that is that the team all knows what they're doing. So they can show up every single day and know that the piece of work that they're doing or that hour that they're spending on something is contributing to a quarter goal, which is then contributing to our business goal. And then so now we're running over to see an investor, Ollie Proudlock. He invested in the business in 2022. Was actually a user of the brand, started tagging us a bit on socials. We then reached out to him, had a few catch-ups with him since. He's featured in a few cool bits of social content for us over the years. A really great one in the Savoy Hotel piece of content last year around the marathon. So I haven't seen him actually for about probably 6 or 9 months. So I'm gonna go over there, catch up with him. It's always great to catch up with him. He's got a couple of his own startups and does a bit of investing in startups. So we're gonna head over to Battersea Park, grab a run together, probably go for a coffee or something afterwards, and then come back to the office to catch up on some of the other things in and around the day. Oh no, we forgot the shades. The original plan was to run there, but we're running half an hour behind where I thought we were going to be because the meeting ran over, so line bike it is. How's things with you?
Dude, everything's good, man, but I tell you what, bro, just juggling, mate.
Yeah. How far do you want to do? Do you want to do 10?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Handle all that to like really try and accelerate in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
So this year budget's to do 10.5,
Which is mega, dude. That's huge.
I think if we go well, we could, actually outperform there. But the most important thing I said to the team is we don't chase that at the expense of setting these things up.
For sure.
Because if we set these things up, we could do 13 next year and 17 the year after.
Yeah.
But if we don't set these things up, we're just going to be running around like startup headless chickens for the next 3 years.
So this year is kind of pivotal, right?
Yeah, that's it.
It's almost like the foundation for the next chapter.
So we're talking about like a 3-year plan.
In the blink of an eye for the whole world to What's been the main driver of those sales?
Well, Amazon's pumping at the minute.
And is it particular products, is it electrolytes or?
Electrolytes and gels.
Yeah.
Mate, the gels are going crazy at the minute.
That's awesome.
Like probably just like marathon season and stuff, but actually electrolytes over the past 18 months as a category
It's gone mad.
just gone mad.
Step outside to morning air, lace up my 95s. I'm tied up in this industry, break out of 9 to 5s. Real one in this.
Do you have an end goal? Yeah, and what is it?
I love
You
it.
can't share it right now.
No, I can share. I love it. I'll do Puresport forever. So I'm like, for me, this is year 1 of 10 years.
Yeah.
And I really want us to build a category defining brand. So for me, that's like a brand that like helps move culture
Yeah.
away from like shortcuts and short-termism and all of that. And like when you hear for the long run, you think like, oh shit, that's that brand Puresport. That's how they think.
Yeah. Which I think is so nice because we live in a world now, everyone's looking for shortcuts.
That's it, brother.
No one's willing to put in the graft,
Yeah.
to work hard to get the results.
Yeah, that's it.
So if you're like the opposite of that and setting the example of how it really should be, man, you got to fucking graft.
Yeah.
You got to put in the hours, you got to put it in.
And
And that's how you gain success. That's how you build culture. So this is the lager.
Sorry, yeah, that's the lager, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the IPA.
Oh, buddy. Cheers,
Mate,
brother.
to your longest run of the last 12 months.
Hey, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, brother.
I think the toughest thing has just been the whole business piece about, I like went into this year being like, oh, I'm going to prioritize myself, this is my goal, you know, whatever. But actually the reality of, like I was saying, like things coming up and, you know, whatnot. But this last probably week, 2 weeks has probably been the bit where I've like turned the tables on, feeling a bit on top. People who we hired in December are now like really flowing
Exactly.
and stuff. And then so actually, you know, like if my 3 jobs for the year are make sure everyone's clear on the plan, make sure we've got the right people to make the plan come to life, and make sure they've got enough money to do it. Like I've almost like done 3 of those big things in this first 2 months of the year. So actually, hopefully this next 6 weeks, classic touch wood, it's just like a bit of a chance for me to be like, okay, actually, and now instead of 90% Puresport, 10% my own goal, I'm now 70%, and like I can go out for a run in the middle of the day like this, and you know, do stuff like that. So fingers crossed.
When did you come in?
Yeah. So
Were you there when I came in the first time?
I think so.
Because I definitely remember the second time when I came in.
It
'cause
wasn't the London office,
I was
eh?
filming something. I came in and you guys wanted to film my response to some of the merch.
Right.
You were in and you were about to launch something and you were in like busy. You were in the other room and you came and said what's up. But you were like trying to You were trying to launch something and there were some things going wrong. And I was coming in.
This
like,
is the Southwark office, eh? This wasn't London Bridge. This was Southwark.
This was Southwark.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was Southwark.
Yeah, it was.
So I think I invested around that.
Yeah,
Around
it was,
20.
It was August 2022 that round was.
Yeah, August
September.
2022 I came in.
So it must have been like summer that year.
And the business has been going how long?
Since 2019.
So 2019. So yeah, I came 3 years in.
Yeah.
Do you know what? When you're building a business, like whatever it is, it's so hard now to create something that hasn't been done before, right? So it's not like you're recreating something, but I think what you guys are doing so beautifully is, okay, let's look at, for instance, the electrolytes. There's so many electrolytes on the market. But for me, and I've tried a shitload of them, honestly, like I've tried loads. For me, personally, and I know a lot of other people will say the same, I think the flavor is fucking you. So like you really focus in on the product and the quality. And also going back to the packaging, it's sexy as. I feel like that is across the board with all your products. I feel like everything has that extra bit of attention and I can feel the care that you guys put into everything. So like everything is thought about, you know what I mean? Like you think about every single point of every single product and how people are going to react, how they're going to feel, how people are going to talk about that product. And I think for me, that is one of your USPs. And I think community, man, like no one is now community like you guys are in the space that you're in. And people feel proud to wear your garments, they feel proud to take your products, and they feel proud to be part of the community. And that is something that is extremely hard to create. So you should be fucking proud of that.
Oh, it's so cool to hear you say that.
Man, I mean
that's
that,
the
dude.
magic.
So good to see you.
So, this shit crazy.
Keep crushing.
A celebration of existence.
Yo, was gonna reach out to you right now, but I just CBA with the stress. Don't even put it on your mum's life. All that's promised in life is death. Didn't wanna break your heart, but if you want, I'll say it with chest. I go so hard, I'm D&D, cause I can't be broken low. backseat thinking, yo, let's get them guys. K got locked just recently, and now it got me thinking twice. Only right that I got me a wife. When I'm single, I cannot focus, yo. You man feel outspoken, me I just feel like I can't be open. Each and every one of us got motion, so our dependence gonna be frozen. You man talk freely about me when I'm there. The energy different. If I bail you, I hear excuses. If you bail me, I'm there in an instant. There ain't no cheat code to the success. Just gotta grind and stay consistent. Yo, every day for me is the start of the week.
It's not very often that I get to run 17k in the middle of the day in the sunshine. That was nice. Yeah, did 10k with Ollie, and then we sat down and had a catch up, and then I was going to line back home, but the weather was too nice to not run back. So that rounds out 17k for the afternoon, which is good because it means I thought I was going to have to do 10 and then maybe run again out tonight. So that worked out absolutely perfect. I'm just going ahead to meet my business mentor. The takeaway that I would give to anybody is the first 4 years of Puresport, I thought mentors were not important. I was like, it doesn't really matter, they don't know my business. But now I would tell everybody to reach out to somebody. They don't even need to have done the thing that you're trying to do. And sometimes that's also helpful. And you'll be so surprised at the people that you can attract to help you. Don't reach out to someone who's in the middle of building because they probably don't have time right now, but someone who's a little bit further in the journey and has maybe been down this road before could be really instrumental in how they help.
So first met Dan, gosh, 2.5 years ago through an introduction. Somebody else in private equity said to me, you've got to meet this guy, he's got a great product, running a great business, and that's how we met, I think over a coffee, and things took off from there. Look, the business was at a real inflection point. I think Dan candidly was struggling a bit in terms of where to go next, in terms of people, in terms of product, in terms of customers. So it is at a real inflection point when I met him, and I think quite a tough place. Looking at Dan now, the spring he's got in his step, the energy in the business, the buzz around the business, you know, whether it's Dan, the team, customers, the stuff that you see on social media, it's just phenomenal how far the brand has come in such a short space of time.
Today's been good. These days are always kind of like double-edged, like you're so buzzing about the things we've talked about, things we've done, but then also probably got like 100 slacks and a whole lot of emails and things. But this is a big part of like the next part of my development. Like I need to be working on the business, not in the business. And today was a day of working on the business. So that's been really great. I think there's definitely some round out points from the bit this morning, but the business has got a lot of momentum. It's exciting, and this is what you hope for. This is what the late nights are for. This is what, you know, putting in through the tough times is for, to build momentum. And now we just got to stay on top of it and keep problem solving. But it's been a great day. Just wrapped up, grabbing a little bit of dinner on the way home. Not the healthiest, carb loading, we can say that. Pizza for dinner. But yeah, really great catch up with him. I sort of see him, you know, probably around 4 times a year. I didn't really mention too much about him before, but you know, really amazing career. He's currently the CEO of a huge supermarket chain in Africa. It looks after about 5,000 employees, and I think they're going to do like $1 billion USD revenue this year. So in terms of his, you know, the way he thinks strategically, the experience that he has, it's really incredible to sit down and speak to him. Tonight we were speaking all about our, you know, 4 strategic priorities, but also innovation. I think, you know, one thing that I always try and talk to him about or get a sense check on is like the big swings that I'm thinking about taking in the business, product big swings, community big swings, etc. All the things we've been talking about, you know, protein, where we go on hydration, races, because he's always someone who really challenges me on am I thinking the right way, or, you know, brings a fresh perspective. But I would say in most categories today, I got a green light of support on nearly everything, which isn't usually the case, to be honest. So yeah, really great to catch up with him. And, you know, kind of like I mentioned before I went into the meeting on the way there, was I could not recommend getting a mentor enough to anybody, no matter where you are in the journey. I think it's so important. It's something I hugely undervalued in the first few years of my journey, and now something that has actually gone on to save Puresport, as I said. So that brings today to a wrap. It's been a monster day, you know, with the big meetings, catching up on some things, going for a great run with Ollie, you know, speaking to him, and then rounding out the day. It is 9:15 now. Gonna head in, have some dinner, and hopefully not open Slack, and I'll deal with that in the morning. But you know, hugely appreciative of everybody that's made it this far in the video, on the support. I get so many, you know, different messages from people on platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, of people watching along. We really appreciate you commenting and, you know, asking any questions in here that you have. I'd love to open them, because I'm sure if you're thinking them, other people might be thinking them. And
yeah, anybody that's liked and subscribed to the channel, I think we broke 250 subscribers this week, which is just so cool. So I hope it's adding some value. I hope it's giving some deeper insight into Puresport and how we're building the brand. And you know, myself, having watched a few now, I'm really learning about how I need to be speaking and not just talking about what I'm doing, but how I'm thinking, so it can really add value to the people who are watching. So if you haven't liked and subscribed and you made it this far, we would really appreciate it. I would appreciate it. And we've got a big 9 months coming up, so I'm going to continue to keep these going, and I'll see you all in about 2 weeks' time. And if you're thinking about decision making, think about this. Think about things that are for the long run. Don't think about the shortcuts. Don't think about the short-termism. I promise you, all the best things in life, they are those things about when you think about them for the long run. And that is the culture shift that we are trying to make as a business. We're trying to change a generation's mindset around shortcuts and short-termism and get them to think like that, because we're surrounded by an industry, you know, in nutrition and in supplements that takes shortcuts on every single thing that they do, their claims, their hype, their ingredients, their manufacturing processes. And then there's an industry, or there's a world out there that says to you that everything in life should be easy, and that's not the way. So think about those things with that in mind, those things that are for the long run, our exercise, our health, our connection with other humans. If you think about things like that way, that is the best way. So appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.